Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting tonight. What a beautiful day it is outside. We have a couple of our councillors who are joining us on Zoom tonight, Councillor Baldwin Sands and Councillor Herbert, and a couple of other that are absent, but we'll get through this evening. This is the 14th meeting of the 146th Council of the Corporation of the City of St. Thomas. Are there any disclosures of interest from any of the council members? Councillor Baldwin Sands.
Thank you. In tonight's public meeting, I will state it again about my conflict with 21 Phillip Street, and I will refrain from any conversation on the topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Seeing no others, we'll go to minutes.
I have a motion that the minutes of the meeting held on April the 7th, 2026 be confirmed. Moved by Councillor Reimel, second by Councillor Gibson.
Questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried.
Council will now resolve itself into committee of the whole to deal with following business. First committee is strategic direction and development. First item relates to Brighter Future monthly update, pillar number 3 of the strategic plan, and that is thriving economic development. I have a motion that reports CMO 2526 relating to Brighter Future monthly update, pillar number 3, thriving economic development, be received for information, and further, the council provide feedback on this update and each monthly strategic plan progress update going forward to identify priority areas and discussion topics. Moved by Councillor Reimel, second by Councillor Clark.
Right. Questions or comments? I'll make a comment first. Taylor, fantastic job of bringing this together to us this month again. Very detailed, but I'll ask council, are there any questions from any members of council? Councillor Reimel and then Councillor Taylor.
Thanks. Under 3.2, just a question regarding the PSWs. Has there been any effect of Fanshawe decreasing some of their programs? Like, is the PSW program still fully operational?
Well, I take it we're talking Valley View in this case. And do we have Michael on tonight? Yes, then Michael, wow, you're our guest speaker first tonight. That's great. So if you've unmuted, please go ahead and share your thoughts.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Yes, certainly we are still involved with Fanshawe College in the sense that we do accept their students. In fact, we have several other students coming over to us next week. So it's an ongoing process. How many students they take into their program, I'm not aware. But certainly whatever they take, we and other homes in the area are able to accommodate them and provide them with the placement that is required.
Okay. Further follow-up, Councillor Reimel?
Yeah, not for that one, ever.
Oh, you've got more. Okay.
Just, sorry. So under 3.3, the renewing downtown, do we keep a list of vacant properties, you know, and maybe every year or 2 years we reach out and say, you know, keeping tabs on whether it's a vacant land or building, you know, what's happening?
Well, I can answer that, and maybe Councillor Taylor could help me with it too. As the DDB, we certainly do. And we're now having some great discussions with another effort we may have at how to reach out to vacant building landlords. And so long talk this afternoon with city manager about it. Maybe hang on to your hat. In the next couple of weeks, you'll see something neat we're doing about vacant landlords.
A couple more.
Go. Okay.
Okay.
I won't take your microphone away from you since you got started. I know Councillor Clark, no, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Just a question about the DDB. Is there any future plans to perhaps enlarge the DDB or do another development board, say along, you know, Ross and Wellington, you know, have a secondary one? Just a thought there.
It's been mentioned before. It's up to the business owners to really want to do it. Our DDB, from my time as the DDB chair years ago, and Earl can help us too, it's not easy to expand the DDB footprint once it's in place. It takes a very large vote of all of the current members in order to do it. And the areas where we might think of expanding DDB here in St. Thomas are all one tax bill. like say the whole smart centers, it's one address and one, and so bringing that into what we might call the downtown doesn't really necessarily help us financially or help the other businesses in the downtown because of the percentage of how much that tax bill could go towards downtown development pieces or BIA pieces. So go ahead, if you got more.
Yeah, well, it was a question actually at the home show, we were having a discussion, and with Andrew Lawton's rep was asking, how do we know when there's a new business coming? So that they could reach out and say, welcome to St. Thomas, all those kind of things. We used to have a welcome wagon, years ago. Is there some initiative or some way so that a new business is, if you're new to St. Thomas, here's some handy information as to where you would, if you need any information, whether it's a QR code or something.
Well, I'll handle this one too. I was part of that conversation on the weekend, but we used to have a welcome wagon piece here in St. Thomas for residents also, and it's no longer there. It was a private run business. It wasn't something the city did. We of course contributed to it. The Chamber of Commerce and I have had a couple of discussions about whether they could take over a business welcome situation or someone else even do that too. But we'd be happy to supply them with a bunch of City of St. Thomas information. But we'd rather it was like a business organization like that would do it. Go ahead.
One more thing, just about the airport, which is a tremendous asset to have in the city. Are we any closer to having any customs? Because that's such an issue when, there's a lot of people, flying with small planes, but it's always the issue of having to land and not having customs officers available.
Madam Clerk, do you want to take that one? I've got a piece. I know that we can call customs out from the London airport if it's a custom shipment of parts or something like that, and they're fairly readily coming to us when that happens. But for landing international airplanes, or even just from the United States, I don't know. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. At this time, it's by telephone and restricted hours. We no longer have the presence that we did in bygone time periods, but from time to time, we do make submissions to border services to see whether we can improve at least the timing and or the speed with which they respond, particularly as we're getting beyond the regular hours.
Because it's really, it's such an advantage to have the airport itself. It makes it so quick and easy. And if you can, I guess we just keep on with the submissions to try to improve the customs piece. That would really help. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Mooney, you please just wave if there's something that I know you put the report together, so I don't want to exclude your ability to share with us. I have next Councillor Taylor, and then Councillor Herbert and Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Reimel answered the question basically that I was going to ask, and it's under 3.3.2 in regards to the vacant properties that are in the city, but I'm not sure that it actually specifically zoned in on vacant downtown buildings. And I know you've answered the question basically, but that section 3.3.2 is marked as completed. I wouldn't mind seeing it opened again just to address that topic. And I know in regards to the Downtown Development Board, you've answered many of the questions there, but Mr. Dyke is here tonight as well, whether you wanted to get any of his input, because the Economic Development Corporation has jumped in and provided a huge amount of assistance to the Downtown Development Board and all of the activities that are going in downtown. One of the line items in the agenda, and if I just take your thunder, is actually talks about businesses that we've brought in and businesses that we've lost. And there is a group that goes around and specifically talks to new businesses about the Downtown Dollar Program. And that's a phenomenal program that actually brings people in to make them, help them, and I didn't say make them, help them spend their money. So if we give somebody a $25 downtown development dollars and they come to a store, maybe they'll spend more. That's what that whole program is about. But the DDB and the EDC does a phenomenal job, in my view, of keeping our downtown vibrant. Thank you, sir.
I think that's a great idea. Mr. Dyke, if you want to come up and brag on your people, because they're doing an incredible job across the board, I'd be happy to hear from you on it.
Thank you. I'm not entirely sure what the question you'd like me to answer on this is, but I agree. My team's doing an amazing job
Yes.
working with local business. Actually, I think I could address some of the questions that Councillor Reimel had as well. But the Welcome Wagon concept is a really good one.
Right.
And it's one that the DDB has actually tried to sort of mimic in the sense of taking flowers, for example, to new businesses that are opening in the downtown. We certainly keep track of which buildings are vacant and which ones are occupied, which ones are newly occupied. We make sure we get over and say hello. Really, I think just making people feel welcome is often more important than giving them anything or maybe showing up with gifts. So that's something that we're very keen on. And we do it throughout our industrial area as well. We'll see someone has moved into a building and we'll go in and say hello and offer our support in whatever they can do. The one nice thing that we used to have in St. Thomas was business licensing, and I'm happy that it's gone, and I'm sad that it's gone in the sense that now we don't know if a new business opens. So we encourage any new businesses that are opening to let us know. It's really the best way that we can find out that they're there. But realistically, often they don't need our support right away. And so we're always working with them to find out what we can do to help. But definitely our team's out there. We're always ready and available to talk to people. And realistically, this has been a fantastic year and a fantastic few years, both with the DDB, the farmers market, and then also with tourism and general economic development as well.
If I can add to it, we had the home show this weekend, of course, and next to the City of St. Thomas booth was the Downtown Development Board booth. And I know that Councillor Taylor was there too, and we saw a lot. But there was even some new businesses at the DDB booth this weekend that I went, hey, where are you located? Because it was really unique to talk to people who are starting out as entrepreneurs and have been there a couple of months and what they're thinking about how they're doing. So yes, please keep, and maybe we should say it this way too. If you're the neighbor of a new business, tell us too, because it may be the only way we may hear about it till we get there. So Sean, thanks for bringing that up. Councillor Taylor, are you okay? Councillor Herbert, you're next.
Thank you. Yeah, if Sean wants to stay at the microphone, I'm sure he would be able to answer my question. First of all, Ms. Mooney, thank you for the report. It was really informative for me. My question is about the Horton Street Market on Saturdays. Do you take attendance for people? Is it a well-attended function every weekend? I'm just curious to see how successful it is. That was my question.
Mr. Dyke?
Sure, thank you. We don't have any method of counting the number of people that come through. So what we do is we measure the sales of the vendors. And certainly we measure how many vendors we have. But consistently, vendor sales have increased year over year ever since we took over, to a point where it's actually quadrupled in total vendor sales since the time that we took over. Obviously, in the off season, the turnout's a little bit lower than in the main season, but we're still seeing very steady traffic throughout the entirety of the year. So the farmers market's been doing very, very well. And we've got the opening of the new season starting up Mother's Day weekend. So bring your families, bring your dogs, come out and buy some stuff from the vendors. We have some incredible vendors this year, and it's going to be even bigger and better than ever. So we're very excited about that. There is technology to track who's coming if we choose to spend some money. It'll track people's cell phones, for example, as they're coming into the space. A lot of places do use it. We just haven't sort of bitten the bullet and gone down and spent the money yet on that kind of technology, but certainly it's something that we're looking at.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, with just a little technology, Jim, we can tell whether you went or not.
I know, yes.
Councillor Clark, you're next.
Thanks, Your Worship. Mr. Dyke. I was pleased to see, and we know that Yarmouth Yards is a success, and it continues to move along. And we've had a number of the local businesses, industries that have expanded, and that's been great news. I'm just wondering whether the timing of that happened before tariffs and everything that's happened in the South. So I'm just wondering if you could comment a little bit on hardships and opportunities that we're seeing with some of the local industries, with the North American Trade Act, talks getting started again. Do we have some industries that may benefit with some opportunities because of the way new trade opportunities are opening up for Canada?
Mr. Dyke?
Thank you. There's probably a very long answer to that question, but I think the simple answer is that we have some very successful businesses in St. Thomas that are doing very well despite the tariffs and the issues in the South. But we're also seeing some businesses that are struggling for sure. Things are slower right now. In the US in particular, people aren't spending their money on bigger products like vehicles, houses, and that's happening here as well as a result. I mean, you can imagine if you're going to work every day at a factory that makes cars, and all of a sudden you don't know for sure if you're going to be able to afford that car next time, then those people that work at the factory are getting laid off. They're not going to go out and buy a new house. They're not going to buy a new car or a boat or anything like that. So I think that that trickles down to everything. And as the costs increase at the same time as that's coming down, then what happens is we just see a very slow economy on the purchasing side. And everything that's being made here is going to a consumer at some level, right? So as people stop spending money, production slows down. At the same time, though, we've been very fortunate. I listed 4 companies that expanded. Prestran built their new facility, Amino North America Corporation, Element 5, and Maxil all built new buildings on their properties in the last year, a year and a half, depending on how far back you go. And we've seen lots of companies hiring people over that time frame as well. While PowerCo's expanding, and that's really exciting news, really our bread and butter over the years has been these local businesses continuing to reinvest in our community and really show how great it is to operate a business here. We haven't lost any significant businesses in a very long time, and we've been very fortunate that way. So I think that we're going to keep seeing some very positive things in the next few years.
Any further? All right. Any further questions or comments? Councillor Gibson.
Not for you, Sean, but sorry, thank you. This is actually indirect to West Evans Lakes. I was, someone had inquired regarding this, and I reached out to Aaron from the library, and we've connected. So I was just wondering if we can just get a little bit of report of what the changes are that has happened, who's doing the work, and why. If Aaron or Adrian could maybe do a few comments, that would be appreciative. Thank you.
I'll start with Adrian. I know I received something from her today on it, so please go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to Councillor Gibson. We have been working with consultants to create a concept for the piano enclosure that will be constructed in Westlake Evans Park. With preliminary drawings, the cost seems to be within the allocated budget that we have left to spend on the park. And so we're meeting with the consultant this coming week to start to get the tender documents ready to go out to tender this spring, and hopeful that we'll have something back to council this summer to get construction started.
Great. Thank you, Your Worship, and Adrian for the update. I had a few residents asking in the area about it, and we certainly appreciate the response. Thank you.
Sorry, Councillor Clark, you go ahead.
Just to follow up on that one, is the intent to leave the piano in the building year round?
Through Your Worship to Councillor Clark, yes, the building will be temperature regulated. So we will also hopefully have a source for a backup if there's a problem. But yes, the intent there is to leave it in year round and to coordinate with the library for programming.
Great. We can do Christmas carols on the piano right? Perfect. All right. Further questions or comments? I just want to go on record again that I love how we're doing this with our strategic plan, how we're looking at different pieces of how we're moving forward and some of the successes, some of the places where we still need to do a little more. But Ms. Mooney, thank you for your work, always putting this together once a month for us so we can see what the progress looks like. But Council, thank you for doing your homework. Councillor Rymal, pretty thorough. Okay. Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the report. Are there any opposed? That's carried.
Next, unless there are any further items for this committee, we'll now move into community engagement and services. First item relates to a review of the proposed 2026-2028 fee structure for pickleball and tennis courts. I have a motion that report PR 1126 relating to the 2026 to 2028 fee structure for pickleball and tennis courts be received for information, and further the council confirm the proposed 2026 rate of $2.50 per hour per court for league play at Pinafore Park as included in the 2026 rates and fees bylaw. Moved by Councillor Rymal, seconded by Councillor Taylor.
Questions and comments? Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Your Worship. A question to Adrian. I was just kind of curious as to the court use went down from 2024 to 2025. The pickleball went down by 523, and the tennis went down 1,722 hours. So I'm just kind of wondering what was maybe some of the cause of that. The other thing is, I was also wondering if I noticed that it's the hydro there goes from electric box. I was wondering if we could separate it and have solar heating in place for that small area there. That would be feasible to do that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Through your worship to Councillor Gibson, for your first question, when it comes to the hours, I mean, there's a lot of things that could factor into that reduction. One of them being that we have an additional 4 pickleball courts over at Gadiris Lukes Park. So there could be that usage. Weather could be a factor. These would really be just bookable hours. So that's not saying that the public isn't using it. It's just saying these are the booked amount of hours for that time. And then for the solar option, certainly that's something we could explore. We had these lights installed in 2016, so they're still fairly new. I would think that maybe at the next round of, if we have to replace the lights, maybe that's a good time to look at solar lighting to see if it's feasible.
Further questions or comments on the new fee schedule? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. Yeah,
Yes.
sorry. Councillor
And
Herbert.
And I see
Yes.
Lori has her hand up too, so I'll put her hand up.
All right,
Anyway.
please.
so-
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the report, Adrian. A couple questions. You've listed all your times. Are they the same times used at the Borough pickleball court, or do they have something different over there? That's my first question.
Through your worship to Councillor Herbert, we don't have any scheduled time play at Gadiris Lukes Park. That is not a bookable space. So the public can use that whenever. These times are strictly for league play and when the courts can be booked.
Okay, thank you. Second question, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
Your times are specific, so I'll just say Monday or Wednesday 9 to 11 or 2 to 4. So who monitors? First of all, do they get all the courts from 2 to 4 or each of the times? And secondly, who monitors it like 4 o'clock? Are they supposed to go off the courts and let the community come in and play if they want during the day? Like who does the actual monitoring? So.
Through your worship to Councillor Herbert, when it comes to the times that we have allowed them to book that space, there is one court that needs to be left open for the public to use. So there should always be a court available that is free. And then secondly, the public does a really good job of monitoring that space, and the user groups are also very good at respecting the times that they have booked. So the staff is not going out to check permits, but we certainly do get complaints if people aren't playing by the rules.
So what do you do? What do you do with the complaints? Someone speaks to the community groups or the groups that are renting the pickleball courts?
Yeah, so the booking coordinator would certainly address any of those concerns with the groups as they book the space. And like I said, we have a really good relationship with those user groups, so there's a lot of conversation going back and forth.
Thank you very much. I knew you'd be on top of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Baldwin-Sands, did I miss your hand? Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I cannot support the report. I was the one that originally asked that we take a look at 4 people paying for $2.50 per hour for a court, which equates to about 75 cents for an adult to play for an hour, which is not very equitable when it comes to the other programs that the Parks and Recreation program does. And I find that in the report, the rationale for the fee structure does not support the $2.50 for 4 people. And I point out that adult skating is $5 for 1 hour for one person. Children swimming in the summer is substantially higher. So therefore, I cannot support this going forward for $2.50 for 4 people for 1 hour, as it works out to less than $1 per person per hour. Thank you.
Adrian, would you respond?
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Councillor Baldwin-Sands. I can appreciate that comment. Our concern is that Like I mentioned in the report, we don't have staff that are monitoring these courts in order to collect a per person fee. And so certainly we could look at, what it would take to implement that, but I think that that would increase the costs that we're already incurring. So the reason, we can charge $5 per person for drop-in or $2.50 per swim is that we have people there charging individuals on site. So certainly when this comes up again, we could look at that. But from a staffing perspective, we're really restricted when it comes to charging a per person model.
May I?
Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Baldwin-Sands, and then I'll go to
Thank
Councillor
you.
Clark.
Thank you. It was about the $2.50 per hour for league play. And the rationale behind it was for $2.50 for 4 people. And my question and why I asked for this report to come forward was I still believe that $2.50 per person for league play is very rational dollar amount to pay for recreation programs in our community. And as I said, it creates the disparity between those who are using other facilities and those that are using those at the park. Whether staff are managing it or not, it's because it's the ability for those programs to have the league play, I believe, at $2.50 per court per person.
Okay. Councillor Clark?
I was just seeking clarification on the same matter. Whether it's $2 or $2.50 or $5, I was going to just say the same mechanism could be used to collect that amount of money.
Further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the report? 4. Sorry, Councillor Herbert, did I see your hand? Yes, okay. Those against? All right, that carries, but noted the votes against. Next item.
Your Worship, if there's no further items from the members for this committee, we'll now move into infrastructure and civic operations. Nothing on the agenda at this time unless there are any items from the members. And seeing none, we'll now move into corporate governance and administration. No items on the agenda at this time unless there are any items from the members.
Seeing none.
At this time, council will reconvene into regular session. I have motion that the recommendations, directions, and actions of council and committee of the whole, as recorded in the minutes of this date, be confirmed, ratified, and adopted. Moved by Councillor Gibson, seconded by Councillor Herbert.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? That's carried.
Next, we move into reports of committees. At this time, council will sit as a dangerous dog appeal committee to hear an appeal of a dangerous dog designation. Your Worship.
Well, is Mr. Target here with us tonight? I think we're going to need you to come downstairs so you can come to the podium. Okay.
Oh, Your Worship, actually.
We've got the microphone
We've got
up
the
there?
microphone up there. You're
Great.
welcome to stay up there.
Okay, we're going to be okay there then. All right. I'm going to advise those in attendance. This is the meeting of the Dangerous Dog Appeal Committee, and it's been called to hear an appeal filed in response to a dangerous dog designation 2026-01 issue pursuant to Section 5 of the Animal Control Bylaw 71-2011 against dog owner Chad James Target at 15 Wilson Ave. We'll hear evidence from the city staff, following by then questions from this committee, and then we'll hear evidence from the appellant, followed by any questions from the committee. And both staff and the appellant will have an opportunity to make final comments, and then the council will consider their submissions, and the Dangerous Dog Appeal Committee will issue a decision. So, city staff, please provide background information regarding the designation and present your evidence in support of the dangerous dog designation. And you can do it from right there. Just swing the microphone towards yourself just a little. Perfect.
Thank you, Your Worship. So my name is Dan Smukovich. I'm the designated pound keeper for the city of St. Thomas. On March 19th of 2026, I received a complaint from a resident who reported a dog bite incident that occurred on March 15th at 15 Wilson Ave. at approximately 1:57 p.m., in which the complainant sustained minor injuries to her fingers, and her son, who is the victim in this case, sustained significant injuries to their right arm. After taking the complaint, I conducted an inquiry into whether the dog involved in the biting incident should be deemed a dangerous dog under the City of St. Thomas Animal Control Bylaw. The information I weighed in this determination was a statement from the initial complainant, a police report from Police Constable Damstra of St. Thomas Police Service, a video of the attack incident, which was captured by a nearby surveillance camera, and photos of the injuries that were sustained by the victim and the complainant. The most compelling piece of information was the video, which I'll describe in detail. In the video, it shows the owner, Chad Target, is observed walking with a leashed pit bull type dog. The dog's name is Douglas. The dog does not appear to be in any distress and is calmly walking with Target and is not pulling on the lead. Target is going towards the front of the residence. The dog looks back when the victim is opening the side door of the residence. The victim is walking down the driveway and is then accosted by the pit bull, which is no longer leashed and lunges at the victim. There was no provocation by the victim to cause the dog to act in an aggressive manner. When the dog lunged at the victim, it appears to catch the victim's pant leg, which causes a large tear on the victim's right pant leg. The victim then backs up and is attacked by the dog, which bites down on his right forearm. Chad Target then appears in view with the leash. The dog then pulls the victim up the driveway by his arm. Target attempts to intervene and grabs a hold of the dog and then drops the leash that he was carrying. The victim's mother, on hearing all the commotion, came out from the side door of the residence and intervened and tried to open the dog's mouth with her hands. During that time, Target is pulling on the dog while this is all occurring. Target's girlfriend, I'm not sure of her name, approaches the dog with Timbits in her hands. As she approaches, the victim is finally able to break free from the dog's hold and falls backward. Target is then able to maintain control of the dog at this point. The victim then rushes inside with his mother. Target's girlfriend hands him the leash that was on the ground and feeds Timbits to the dog while Target puts the leash back on the dog. So that's the majority of the issue there is what occurred in that video. And after all the factors were weighed, it's evident that this was an unprovoked attack in the absence of any mitigating factor. I, in my opinion, deem the dog to be dangerous and to meet the threshold of being considered a dangerous dog under the bylaw. I serve the owner, Chad James Target, a dangerous dog designation by hand delivery on March 26th at 11:35 a.m.
Thank you very much for your sharing of the information. Mr. Target, you can hear us okay?
Yeah.
Give us a trial so we can make sure we hear you okay, and please go ahead with your evidence.
Okay, so just a little bit nervous, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I'd like to start off by saying, like, I feel horrible about what happened to the victim, like getting bit by the dog. The only thing is that what Mr. Schmucker managed to leave out of that whole spiel was the main thing was the collar broke on my dog. He's the one who told me he's seen in the video the collar broke. So I'm surprised he didn't mention that. What happened was I've got a letter from my landlord and I'm going through Freedom of Information to receive notes from 10 different police officers who have been to my house for the girl downstairs, the woman who reached in to open the mouth. She'll bang on my floor, like her ceiling, with a baseball bat and bark at my dog. Like she's been taunting him for over a year. I have a letter from my landlord saying I've been complaining about it for a year. The police have been there. I've complained to them on 10 different occasions that she's doing this down there. What happened was I took the dog in the backyard on leash, didn't let him off leash. He had an obedience collar on, a pinch collar. I took him in the backyard. When we came around to the front, where it's off camera, I started walking up the stairs. I heard the side door open. So I stopped and held the dog so that they'd be able to get by without the dog being right at their face, because he's completely anxious of anybody downstairs now. My landlord's had to repair the ceiling in her apartment from her smashing it with a baseball bat. She broke her kitchen table standing on it to hit the ceiling. Like, she's absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned. And it's so unfortunate that her son was the one who got the brunt end of this, but I feel like there's definitely mitigating factors. The dog's been provoked for over a year. If you do that to a dog, like, as horrible as it sounds, like if his collar broke, it's just a matter of chance that day. Like, I do believe, obviously, if he will bite, he's a potentially dangerous dog. I just feel that there are definitely some mitigating factors of provocation in this case, 100%. And I have supporting documents.
Okay, thank you very much. Committee, council, your chance to ask any questions of our staff or of the appellant.
Your worship.
Councilor Herbert, go ahead.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for this. My question would be, would the police officer who gave the initial report, would they be there tonight? We could get their side of the story because they hear both sides. And I just wondered if the police officer who was involved in this case here would be available to comment.
Well, this is really for questions of our staff or the appellant, but we'll see. Mr. Target, you have an answer at all for?
I would like to subpoena him. I've just started going through the Freedom of Information Act, like right after this happened, and it's taking forever. Like I was hoping to have the documents, their notes, because he came to my house and told me himself, hey, if you can go through Freedom of Information and get my notes, they'll help you. You know what I mean? Like it's written down. Him alone has been to my house 4 times for complaints of her banging on the ceiling and barking at my dog through the floor. And like, I've got audio, video that I've sent to my landlord over the last year of her barking and getting him going and laughing about it. Like, I feel horrible that this happened, and the dog bit, so he is potentially dangerous. I just don't feel that he should be designated a dangerous dog and put in that situation over something that happened like this. And I wish the officer was here. There's actually 4 different officers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions from council? Let's see where I am on this. Now both our city staff and the appellant have an opportunity to make final comments. First, Dan?
Yeah, so with regard to designating a dangerous dog, that under our bylaw, that is the only option because the dog has in fact bitten somebody. It's not that it acted in a menacing fashion or that it was at large. So potentially dangerous dog is not an applicable outcome in this case. It's either dangerous dog or not.
Mr. Target?
Yeah, I feel it's, I don't have the exact number on me, but in the bylaw, it states that the one exception or the 3 exceptions would be someone on your property, someone threatening violence to you or the animal's young, or someone provoking it by teasing it. And that's 100% a fact in this case. So then if it's not possibly a dangerous dog, it should not be a dangerous dog. I'm in the process of moving to get away from this neighbor. I have, like I said, I have supporting documents, and I just don't feel like my dog should be put on the chopping block because of this. Like it's a serious thing, and I feel horrible that it happened. But for him to be put like where he could be put down over it, he's an amazing, loving dog. He hates anybody who comes out of that door downstairs because of what's happened. He knows they do that, and then the police come, and then it's a big thing. You know, like it's not his fault at all. If anything, I'll take the blame.
Okay.
Your worship.
Councilor Herbert, go ahead. It's not on my list that you get to speak again, but I'll let you do it.
Anyway, thank you. Is this the first time the dog has bit anybody? That would be my question.
Yes, sir. Never happened before. I have supporting documents, all kind of character references here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome. Thank you.
Well, after we've had the closing comments, it is now the committee's job to affirm or rescind the Pound Keeper's designation of dangerous dog, or substitute its own designation or substitute its own requirements pursuant to Section 5.3 of the Animal Control Bylaw 71-2011. Members are to consider a decision. The clerk will read the decision.
Your worship, since council prefers that all its resolutions be in the positive, this is the resolution as it stands. I have a motion that report ES 1726 relating to dangerous dog designation 2026-01 be received for information, and further that council affirm the Pound Keeper's designation of the dog named Douglas, owned by Chad James Target, as being a dangerous dog, and further the council order that all conditions to the keeping of Douglas in relation to the dangerous dog designation be met by Chad James Target. Just need a mover and a seconder, Your Worship.
There you go.
Moved by Councillor Gibson, seconded by Councillor Reimel.
I guess it's really just an all in favor at that point. We have a motion moved. So to the committee, all in favor? That is passed. Please be advised that the committee has made its decision, which is final, and that the notice of the decision will be provided by hand delivery or registered mail to the applicant, or to the appellant. This meeting's now adjourned.
Can I say something else? No, yes.
Sure.
Is there a way to appeal this appeal? Because it doesn't seem fair at all. It seems pretty biased. I don't mean to be rude or speak out of turn, but Schmucker doesn't know what he's talking about. He also told me my dog couldn't be a Catahoula leopard dog, which I have audio, a letter from a vet and audio of him howling like a Catahoula leopard dog.
Oh.
So I wouldn't trust his word for anything personally.
No, the answer is no, there is not a way to appeal this committee. We very seldom get to even act as a committee on this, so thank you.
Whatever, bye.
Thanks.
Your worship, next order of business are communications. None before council at this time unless any of the members have anything. Seeing none, your worship, we'll now move to unfinished business of council. Nothing on the agenda unless there are any items from the members.
No.
Next order of business is new business of council.
I'd like to add a couple of comments about this past weekend. Certainly the home show occurred this weekend, and many of this council was there, but a lot of the citizens of St. Thomas, and we've certainly had a lot of great input, whether it was directly on transit or on the growth of our community or other things that this council has been doing on behalf of the citizens of St. Thomas. So thank you to the home builders for putting on an excellent home show. Another piece of news that happened last week is we did the groundbreaking for the Balaclava Indwell project, and I wanted to thank all of the members of council that also came out for it. And it was quite a great piece of sharing great information about supportive housing with our friends at Indwell. And that's all the new business I have. Madam Clerk, I think you have some.
Thank you, Your Worship, for that intro. I just would like to advise that the city is hosting a free candidate information session ahead of the 2026 municipal election that's being held this fall. Nominations to run for office open on May the 1st. And so if you've ever considered running for mayor or for a seat on city council, we would love for you to come out and we'll help you get started. So this session will be taking place on Monday, April the 27th. That's 2 weeks from now, and it's from 6 till 8 in the Carnegie Room at the library. It's going to begin with a presentation from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, followed by some information by election staff and a Q&A. And I understand, Your Worship, you will be present for the Q&A.
Yes.
If there's any further information that folks are looking for, we do have our election information up on the city's website. So see you on April the 27th from 6 till 8 at the library.
Perfect. Thank you. Next item.
Next order of business is public notice. The City of St. Thomas hereby provides notice of its intention to adopt bylaws to establish 2026 property tax ratios and property tax rates at its meeting to be held on Monday, April 20th at 5 p.m. The meeting is available to the public in person or by Zoom. No notices of motion. However, there is a need to move into closed session. I have a motion that this meeting be closed to deal with a proposed or pending disposition of land. Moved by Councillor Baldwin-Sands, seconded by Councillor Taylor.
Great. As a notice, I'll always take, but just before we vote, we're about to go into closed session. We don't have much of an agenda in closed session tonight. We have about 15 minutes to finish that work, come back in, finish our open session work before we adjourn the council for the evening. But we do have 3 public meetings tonight that have to start at about 6 o'clock. So all those in favor of going to closed session? That's carried, and we'll be back here before.
So question?
Sorry, go ahead.
So do I have to sign out and then sign in again?
If you were sent both notices, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so council, we're going to go to 304 for a quick closed session. We'll be back here before 6.
Your Worship, at this time, I have a motion to rise from closed session. Moved by Councillor Reimels, seconded by Councillor Gibson. Moved by Councillor Rymel, seconded by Councillor Gibson, that council now rise from closed session. Next order of business are bylaws. I have a motion that leave be granted to bring in the bylaws. Moved by Councillor Kohler, seconded by Councillor Taylor. I have a motion by Councillor Kohler, seconded by Councillor Taylor, that the bylaws be now read a first time, referred to council and committee of the whole, and read a second time.
First bylaw, please.
First bylaw is a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on the 13th day of April, 2026.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Second bylaw is a bylaw to authorize mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and Ayodeji Gobani. This relates to a residential loan agreement under the Community Improvement Program for 637 to 639 Talbot Street.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Third bylaw is a bylaw to authorize mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and 10013480009 Ontario Inc. This relates to Heritage Facade and Building Improvement Loan Agreement under the Community Improvement Program for 581 Talbot Street.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Fourth bylaw is a bylaw to authorize mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and Automotive Materials Stewardship, Inc. This relates to automotive hazardous waste.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Fifth bylaw is a bylaw to authorize mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and Product Care Association of Canada. This relates to hazardous waste.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried.
Next bylaw is a bylaw to appoint a deputy city clerk, being John Hindley. This was previously delegated by the current clerk, and it's needed to ensure continuity until the new clerk begins.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Seventh bylaw is a bylaw to authorize mayor and clerk to execute and affix the seal of the corporation to a certain agreement between the city and Donna Marie Payeur, and that relates to an encroachment at 25 William Street.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Ninth bylaw is a bylaw to adopt official plan amendment number 114 to the City of St. Thomas official plan. This is relating to a kennel and pet grooming operation at 417 Wellington Street at the Elgin Center.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Next bylaw, please.
Ninth bylaw is a bylaw to amend bylaw 50-88, being the zoning bylaw for the City of St. Thomas. This is to permit a kennel and pet grooming at 417 Wellington, Elgin Center.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's carried. Last bylaw, please.
10th and final bylaw is a bylaw to amend bylaw 188-2002, being a bylaw to impose fees or charges with respect to recreation services matters.
Your worship, I rise and report. Thank you. All those in favor? That's carried. I rise and report the successful passing of 10 bylaws.
I have a motion by Councillor Kohler, seconded by Councillor Taylor, that the report of council and committee of the whole on the 10 bylaws be received and adopted. The same be read a third time, engrossed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? That's carried.
No further items for open session, your worship. At this time, I have a motion for adjournment. Moved by Councillor Baldwin-Sands, seconded by Councillor Rymel.
Questions or comments on adjournment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Are there any opposed? That's carried.